The topic that I'm going to be talking about in this video is current. Is there ever a point at which fish won't feed due to current? Now, at times we may feel that way because a current can be really strong at times, and you just think to yourself, okay, this current's really strong. These fish have to do a lot of work to go after food in the current. However, that's not the case. When you have very strong current, it's going to be bringing a lot of food down with it, so it makes a great opportunity for fish to feed when you have very strong current. Now, one thing you do want to look for when you're in an area with very strong current is to look for structure that blocks that current, because anything that blocks that current is going to create a calm spot right behind it, and typically those fish will be holding in those areas. And now it can be something visible. It could be something as visible as a point. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. We have this point right down here by this inlet. This is a Sebastian inlet. It's a very narrow inlet, so you get a very strong current going through this area. So when you do have a point, let's say you have an incoming tide, this point is going to have a nice calmer area right behind it, so that can make an ideal ambush point for predator fish. Also, when you have either a pier or a jetty or anything like that, you're going to have the same thing. You're going to have current rushing around that point and then a calmer spot just behind it. So looking for those visible pieces of structure is very ideal. Now, something else is structure that's on the bottom. Let's say you may have a depth change, a ledge, or some rocks on the bottom. Those are going to create areas for fish to hold as well, because they create a current break. They're going to basically have a calm spot right behind them. So let's just say you have a pile of rocks out here in the middle. You have a very strong current. Those fish will sit on the bottom just behind those rocks where the current is coming over, because number one, it's going to bring bait, it's going to bring food over that area, and also it's going to create that calmer area where the fish can hold, so they don't have to do a lot of work to stay in place. Now, one of the toughest things about fishing in strong current is just presenting your lure properly, and also if you're using live bait, keeping your live bait in an area where those fish may be, because again, those fish don't typically want to do too much work or travel too far in that strong current to get their food. So you basically have to get your lure or get your bait to those fish. Now, using heavier jigs is definitely going to help. Heavier lures, just because you have to compensate for that very strong water flow with that very strong tide. So make sure you're using heavier lures. Try to cast further up current. That way, by the time your lure gets to the bottom, it'll be near that area that you want to fish. You don't want to cast directly on top of it, because by the time your lure gets to the bottom, it's going to be further down current. So just make sure you're casting accordingly, using heavier weights. If you're using live or cut baits and you want it to stay down on the bottom, I highly recommend using either a very heavy pyramid sinker, because of their flat sides and sharp edges. They will usually catch the bottom, catch the sand. That's why a lot of surf fishermen like to use them. If you're using egg sinkers, what they will do is just roll on the bottom. Doesn't matter how heavy they are. When that current grabs your bait, it's going to drag that egg sinker along the bottom. So use some type of sinker that is heavy enough and also sharp enough to sort of catch the bottom. That will definitely help you out.
If you are new to Salt Strong, we are the largest online fishing club for saltwater anglers, and we guarantee you two things. Number one, you'll start catching more fish in less time. And number two, you will save a ton of money on your favorite tackle and gear with discounts available exclusively for our members. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com and we'll see you there.
There's something about the water that'll give you peace, all by yourself or with your family. Live Salt Strong and wear the line today.